The next target we're going to talk about is just a rabbit target on the ground, a rolling ground rabbit, what they were designed for. That target, like I said earlier, it's a thick target. It's a very strong target. They're rolling along the ground and they're hitting the ground, hitting rocks, and they're thick enough and strong enough that they're not going to come apart. Because they're so thick and so heavy, they are harder to break, like mentioned before. So I definitely recommend shooting a 7.5, unless it's really close and full face. I want to hit it hard. So I'm shooting 7.5s at this style target. We want to really read the speed. I promise you, the majority of rabbits that we see in competition, they're not that fast. And because they're touching the ground, every time the rabbit touches the ground, it technically slows down. Rabbits are missed a lot. People really struggle with rabbits, and in general, they're missing in front of them or they're missing high. It's a shot where I need a fair amount of barrel awareness. I need to know when that the gun is with the target. These targets are shot. I shoot a lot of these style targets from the back side. Okay, the majority of rabbits, I'm gonna have a hold point to where I can see that target come out, and I initially insert the gun to the back side of the target. I want to be inside the lead, basically. Okay. It's important to understand that the rabbits are slowing down quite a bit. Every time they touch the ground, they're slowing down. So it's a very different target than a clay flying in the air, in a sense that I actually want to stay behind this target. In a sense, not necessarily always behind, but inside the lead. I want to be matching the speed from inside the lead. In most cases, that's from the back side. That's on the back edge of the rabbit. I tell a lot of people I want to stay inside the lead or I want to stay back, meaning in most cases, rabbits don't take a lot of lead. There's very few that we shoot. Maybe at some of the biggest competitions, there might be a rabbit with 3, 4, 5 feet of lead, but in general, the leads on rabbits are front edge out to a foot or two in front. In these cases, I want to put the gun on the back side of the rabbit. I want to stay there. I want to go to the back side. I want to pace it. I want to be moving with it. I want to feel the lateral speed. I'm not going to overtake or get to the lead until that rabbit does something that presents itself to be vulnerable. These targets are difficult because they're hopping. They're not consistent. From target to target, they can be very different. Some will hug the ground. Some will bounce a lot. Regardless, I want to be in position to react to those hops or react to that bird hugging the ground at the break zone. I'm staying back and I'm not moving into the lead until at some point it's vulnerable to me. At some point, as I'm reading it, I am not going into the lead till that last second. It's not a shot of maintain lead. It's a lot of shot of pull away and or pass through. I want to stay back. I don't want to go into the lead till that last second when I know exactly what the target's doing. One of the trickier parts of the rabbit is that we're not going to define a specific break point. Okay, this is probably one of the shots where it's most critical to realize that it's a break zone, because they're so consistent. They're not hopping at the same time every time. It's critical that we keep the gun in position to be able to react to all the inconsistencies. That's why we're not shooting maintain lead. That's why we're not out on the front side of the rabbit early on in the move at all. Okay, I want to stay back. I want to feel the speed. I'm reading hops. I'm feeling the speed, but I'm basically waiting for the rabbit to be vulnerable. I'm waiting for it to tell me when it wants to die. At some point in its path, it's gonna hop or hug the ground, and you're gonna know exactly what it's doing. And that is the moment we're gonna overtake the rabbit from the backside or come from the front edge out to a few feet of lead. The leads are gonna vary depending on the distance and speed, but the technique doesn't necessarily vary that much in the fact that we don't want to be all the way out there early. We want to give ourselves room to be able to move up and out or out to the lead as we know exactly what the target's doing. A key thing to remember on rabbit targets is they're never as fast as they look. They're always on the ground. You're seeing them pass other pieces of broken clay or rocks or different whatever's on the ground around them. And you can kind of trick your brain into thinking that target's faster than it is. I tell people a lot, I never want you to pull the trigger or feel forced to pull the trigger as it's about to touch the ground. When it touches the ground, that's the moment of of inconsistency. That's the moment where we don't know exactly what it's doing. In general, let's try to kill the bird as it comes off the ground, or as we're matching the speed of it and it's kind of hugging the ground at that last moment. To summarize some of these rabbit shots, I think it's critical to remember that they don't take a lot of lead. So understand that the gun and the target are going to be very close together. So the necessity to know where your gun is very important. I need you to realize that barrel awareness is a key aspect on these shots. One of the most barrel aware shots for a lot of people is it needs to be the rabbit. You always hear, you got a friend, or you always hear at a shoot that your friend, he would have shot some score, but he got hopped by a rabbit. If you take these tips and understand that we're staying back and we're not controlling or matching speed of a rabbit from the front side or from the lead, you shouldn't get hopped. It shouldn't happen. Okay, we're actually waiting or reading and gonna attack the target or kill the target on a hop, and we're never pulling the trigger when we don't know what the target's doing. So getting hopped should be a non-issue. People that are constantly getting hopped by rabbits are just approaching them the wrong way. Like I said, plenty of barrel awareness, stay back, stay inside the lead, see that target really well at the trigger, and you're gonna be very, very successful.